HarperAudio Australia presents The Ghost of Howlers Beach, The Butter O'Brien Mysteries by Jackie French, read by Edwina Wren. To Jack and Tom, may you have adventures always. Chapter 1. Sunlight danced across the water the day the dog dug up the skull. But even a golden beach couldn't cheer Butter up, as he sat on top of the sand dunes below the very small castle and stared at the curling waves endlessly washing in and out. If only something would happen, something interesting, something so big it would fix the boredom of holidays and fill the emptiness since Mum's death, said a whisper in his mind. But all he could see were marshmallow clouds, the crinkling froth on the sand, 3 kids playing cricket at the water's edge, and a dog digging enthusiastically in the dirt a few yards away from him. It wasn't much of a dog. It was dirty, thin and scruffy, with a crooked tail and only 3 legs. But it was still burrowing eagerly, using its 2 front legs to dig as it lay with its remaining hind leg curled under it. The huge pile of earth and grass had tumbled down there from the headland after a storm just 2 months ago. A landslide was rare excitement at Howlers Beach. Butter's attention returned to the cricket match. The kids were skinny and barefoot. 2 were about Butter's age, a boy in ragged shorts and tanned skin, and a barefoot girl in a long, loose dress. The smaller girl was so young that the bowler had to come close to toss her the ball. The stumps were just driftwood, shoved in the sand. The bat was a fence paling. The players only had 1 ball, so every time it sailed into the water, someone had to wade in to fetch it. The tide was coming in too. Soon the waves would wash right up to the stumps. But they were having fun, Butter thought. School holidays were long when your best mates had gone back to their families' properties. Taggart Minor had even taken another 2 months off to visit his uncle in Scotland in a real castle, not a very small one. Taggart's castle was probably haunted too, maybe by a headless knight. Or Taggart's ship might be hit by an iceberg. He'd have to cling to the iceberg till he was saved. Some people had all the luck. Something bobbed round the rocks at the other end of the beach. A boat! Butter shaded his eyes against the morning glare to get a better look as it drew closer. Maybe they'd be gangsters, smuggling stolen jewels to a mysterious cave. Butter squinted into the sunlight. 2 men held pistols, just like in the talking picture show Guns of Chicago he'd seen with the aunts the previous week. They really had to be gangsters. Why else would a boat come so close to Howlers Beach? Other ships sailed further out, like passenger liners or the big barges that had carried stone from the Maria quarries for the pylons of the giant bridge that now almost stretched from one side of Sydney Harbour to the other. No one came to Howlers Beach, and not just because of the moans from the cliff that made people say it was haunted, but that Dad said was just the wind. Howlers Beach was small, a sandy curve between the big headland on one side and rocks on the other. There was nothing nearby for miles, except the Susso camp that had gradually grown in the last few years on the other side of the headland, and his family's very small castle, his family's big stone home, that had been built close enough to the beach so Grandpa O'Brien, the Jam King of Australia, could watch the sea through his telescope when he decided the Russians might invade Australia back in 1903. The very small castle even had battlements, where you could pour boiling oil down on invaders, as well as 4 small towers, because Grandpa had decided that a jam king with 18 jam factories around the new nation needed a proper castle too. That had been nearly 30 years back, and there'd been no invasion, and no boiling oil either. So instead, Grandpa hung big banners down the battlements with "Wallaby Jam, bounce your way to goodness," written on a picture of a grinning wallaby eating a slice of bread and plum jam. Luckily, the very small castle was at the end of the road, so hardly anyone had seen the banners, which were put away after Grandpa died. Nowadays, the battlements just made the roof a good place to hang the washing, so
Sample complete. Ready to continue?